And it's time to cap off a wonderful week of basketball in the Hoosier State. Last night, Kentucky, less than hospitable hosts. They beat Indiana by 20 points. Indiana looking to return the favor this time around as they take on the top players from the state of Kentucky. It's the annual World Series of high school basketball right here on ISC. Tonight's game presented in part by Coca-Cola of Kokomo. Proud to be a part of Kokomo since 1907. By the Ed Martin Automotive Group, the only name you need to know. By Forum Credit Union, helping people live their financial dreams for over 80 years. Innovative product services. Visit them online, forumcu.com. By the Indy 11, World's Game Indiana's team. Get your tickets today at indy11.com/tickets. By Lee Company, Indiana's largest school equipment supplier. By Quack Nutty Donuts, always fresh, always cake donuts in Westfield. And by Scott Nichols of State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm and Scott Nichols are there. Alongside Jan Bozier, my name is Greg Rakestraw. Thank you so much for joining us. And Jan, we saw a very competitive girls game that just finished about 25 minutes ago. Indiana girls winning that one by 2. This one we expect to be a similar level of competitive. Again, Kentucky, especially in the second half, pulled away from Indiana yesterday. We expect a very motivated Indiana team to take to the floor coming up tonight.
Yeah, and quite honestly, I think Kentucky's going to be pretty motivated too. They haven't swept the Indiana boys in a long, long time. And I'll tell you, this Kentucky team has some shooters on it, but on the Indiana side, the difference in that game clearly was 33 free throws made by Kentucky, just 13 made for Indiana. So that tells me that Indiana's going to have to do one or two things. Play a little better defense, get to the free throw line themselves. But I think they got to get Benner a little more involved to get some of that out of the middle stuff away.
Let's face it, Floyd Badunga only played less than 15 minutes. He played over 30 on Wednesday night. And a very questionable technical foul call late in that game that affected his performance. The Indiana Mr. Basketball that is headed to play for Bill Self at Kansas. Again, he's already been to Lawrence, flew back to be a part of this week. He's a young man that has taken the state of Indiana by storm in his 3 years of playing at Kokomo High School. I'm not sure if this is McGinnis in 69, but I expect to see a different Floyd Badunga tonight for Team Indiana.
Yeah, and I think so. While we certainly look for his offensive numbers, the thing that he is such a difference maker in is protecting the rim. Deflections, blocks, just a little things. Not all of them get on the stats. That's where he clearly is a big difference maker, protecting that rim for his team.
Floyd Badunga and Jack Benner are clearly the top two players in this senior class. Let's talk about Kentucky. They had a very obvious Mr. Basketball as well. Travis Perry, Lyon County, going to play at the University of Kentucky. Frankly, not many in-state kids have played for Kentucky over the years. Maybe that changes now with Mark Pope. But from a talent standpoint, Travis clearly an SEC and UK level player. He averaged 29 points a game this year for his team in his home state.
Yeah, he's got some amazing, numbers specifically for his career. He's the all-time leading scorer at 5,481. Now, don't forget, he was one of those got to play some extra years too.
That's 6 years of high school basketball playing as middle schooler. Just for a frame of reference, 3,100 and change is the most points ever scored in the state of Indiana over a 4-year span. But last night, the offensive star was Max Green from Oldham County, having to play at Holy Cross. Anytime in an all-star game you get somebody that scores north of 30, that catches your attention.
Well, specifically late, he just caught fire and then ended up, I think, with 36. So they've got 2 or 3 people on this Kentucky ball club that can put up serious numbers. Indiana has really got to know where those shooters are at all times.
And again, this is an Indiana team, as we have talked about. This is not the usual combination of talent. There are several kind of small college players on this team. A couple of the guys we'll talk about are walk-ons at the Big Ten level. So this is not the deepest Indiana group. I think they knew they'd be up against a little bit this year. If this group could gain a split and prevent that first Kentucky sweep since 1986, I think it'd be job well done for this Indiana team.
I really do, and I think obviously Peckinpah's motivated. He's been the head coach of Badunga, and so it's important for everybody. But I think you're going to see a lot of energy. I don't think that they have got to come out with a lot of energy and get on this thing really quick.
With that, let's turn it over to Chad Nickum, the public address voice of this event, as we bring you the pregame pomp and circumstance before Indiana and Kentucky.
As they continue the time-honored tradition of singing My Old Kentucky Home and Back Home Again in Indiana.
The sun shines bright on my old Kentucky home. 'Tis summer, the people are gay. The corn tops ripe and the meadows in the bloom, while the birds make music all the day. The young folks roll on the little cabin floor, all merry, all happy and bright. By and by, hard times comes a knocking at the door, when my old Kentucky home, good night. Weep no more, my lady, oh, weep no more today. We will sing one song for my old Kentucky home, 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 far away. When I dream about the moonlight on the Wabash, how I long for my Indiana home, back home again in Indiana. And it seems that I can see the gleaming candlelight still burning bright through the sycamores for me. The new mown hay sends all its fragrance to the fields I used to roam. When I dream about the moonlight on the Wabash, how I long for my Indiana home.
Thank you to the Berkey family for sharing your talents here tonight for the All-Star Games. And now, before we meet the teams, we would like you to turn your attention to center court as All-Star Game Director Mike Broughton and Brad Logg of Jostens presents Indiana's Mr. and Miss Basketball with their commemorative rings, courtesy of Jostens, proud partner of the All-Star Game Series. Congratulations to Miss Basketball, Chloe Spring. And Mr. Basketball, Flory Bidunga. And now, let's meet the rosters from these two great states. First, let's meet the 2024 Kentucky All-Stars. Kentucky Games Director Scott Schultz. Head coach from Louisville Iroquois, Jeff Morrow. Assistant coaches, D.G. Sherrill of Bowling Green. From Spencer County, Jason Burns. And from Louisville Iroquois, Brandon Kaysen. And now the roster for the Kentucky All-Star. At 6'6", Senator Thomas Moore from Cooper High School, number 13, Sean Pouncey. At 6'4" and undecided on his salvage choice from Louisville Butler, number 12, Dayton Williams. At 6'7", going to Three Rivers Community College from Hopkinsville, number 11, Antonio Williams. Standing 6'5" and on his way to Florida Gulf Coast from Christian Academy, number 10, Jackson Washington. At 6'5" and headed to Western Kentucky from Warren Central, number 9, Cade Unsell. 6'6" and going to Tennessee Martin from Lyon County, number 8, Brady Shoulders. 6'9" and on his way to Columbia University from Bowling Green, number 7, Mason Ritter. Standing 6 foot and heading to Jacksonville State from Louisville Seneca, number 6, Kelvin House. Standing 6'6" and going to Holy Cross from Olin County, number 5, Max Green. Standing 6'9" and headed to the Mid-American Conference at Ohio University from Elizabethtown, number 4, Aiden Evans. Standing 6'5" and headed to Bellarmine from Lexington Catholic, number 3, Tyler Doyle. At 6'5", going to Trinity Valley Community College from Christian County, wearing number 2, Terrell Bateman. And standing 6'2", on his way to the University of Kentucky to be a Wildcat from Lyon County, the 2024 Mr. Basketball for the state of Kentucky, number 1, Travis Perry. The Kentucky All-Star. And now, let's welcome to the court your Indiana All-Stars. Indiana All-Star Director Mike Broughton. Indiana All-Star Team Coordinators Steve Cox, Sabrina Davis-Williams, and George Grubbs. Dr. Kathy Reese and our All-Star trainers, Paul Herman and Patrick Miller. The head coach of the Indiana All-Stars from Kokomo High School, John Beckett-Paul. Assistant coaches from Silver Creek, Brandon Hoffman. And from Bar Reed, Josh Thompson. And now tonight's roster for your Indiana All-Stars. Standing 6'8", headed to UIndy to be a Greyhound from Evansville Memorial, number 13, Tucker Tornada. Standing 6'6" and going to St. Francis to be a Cougar from Kokomo, number 12, Carson Rogers. Standing 6'3" and on his way to be a Greyhound at UIndy from Chesterton, number 11, Tyler Parrish. Standing 6'6" and headed to IU of Indianapolis to be a Jaguar from Fishers, number 10, Keenan Garner. Standing 6'6", the next year will be a Panther at Hanover from Scottsburg, number 9, Jack Miller. Standing 6 foot next year in the Big Ten as an Iowa Hawkeye from Westfield, number 8, Trey Buchanan. Standing 6'4" and staying right here in Indianapolis to be a Butler Bulldog from Rebuck Jesuit, number 7, Evan Haywood. Standing 6'1" and headed to Marion at Indiana Wesleyan. He'll be a Wildcat from Wapahani, number 6, Isaac Andrews. Standing 6'3" and on his way to West Lafayette to play for the Boilermakers from Noblesville, number 5, Aaron Fine. Standing 6'2" and headed to Eastern Kentucky to be a colonel from Franklin Community, number 4, Micah Davis. Standing 6'4" and headed to the Big Ten to play for the Northwestern Wildcats from Mid-Davis, number 3, K.J. Winder. He stands 6'6", and next year he will be a Boilermaker for Purdue from Brownstown Central, number 2, Jack Benner. And at 6'9", headed to the University of Kansas to be a Jayhawk from Kokomo High School, your 2024 Mr. Basketball for the state of Indiana, number 1, Flory Bidunga.
Great job by Chad Nickham, as always. Those are your 2 rosters for tonight's contest. Let's recognize tonight's officials: Eric Lowe, Brian Shore, and Tyler Wimsett. And they are brought to us by Andrew Prince Realty. Whether it's buying, selling, renting, or even investment, becomes a real estate. Andrew Prince, the Century 21 Sheets, here to help. 317-883-7575 or online at princerealtyindy.com. Jan, your final thoughts before this one goes live?
Well, I think you got to have short memories in these All-Star games, and the men have just got to forget about last night, come out and play their best of all the games they've played and put it on the line. I really want to see Jack Bittner get more involved. I really feel like he's got more points in him. He averaged 25, so he knows how to get it done. Get a little pressure off that middle game, and I think he's the guy who can do it.
Jim Shannon, the game ball presenter, longtime, very successful head coach in New Albany. You may know him from coaching Romeo Langford and winning a state championship in 2016. And as we have mentioned, last time that Kentucky has swept Indiana, you got to go back to 1986. Indiana has been dominant in this series in all locations, but especially in this building.
You know, you talked about Travis Perry and the numbers that he has put up and averaged just under 30 a game. He only had 12 last night, so I thought that was a little bit of an interesting stat for Kentucky.
Aiden Evans will jump at center against Flory Bidunga. We are underway from Cambridge Fieldhouse. Kelron House heading to Jacksonville State, guarded by Aaron Fine, who will play at Purdue. The slip to Evans, Bidunga with the takeaway, and an early turnover by Kentucky. Thanks for joining us on the ISC Sports Network alongside Jan Bozier. Greg Rakestraw with you. In college rules, 2 20-minute halves, media timeouts every 4 minutes. 7 fouls get you the bonus, 10 fouls the double bonus. Bidunga finds Wyndham for 3. KJ won't get it to go, but Bidunga grabs another board. He had 30 and 20 against the juniors on Wednesday, and he is fouled. That will be Travis Perry on the reach, his first and team's first. Bidunga played in this building in the Futures game last year, played in the state championship as a junior, finishing as the runner-up to a 33-0 Ben Davis team. Benner on the cut. You wanted to get Benner more involved. There you go.
Yeah, he's that guy. You know, he's a great passer among so many things. He's a scorer. But I really like the way he moves and the way he passes.
And he and Fine will be teammates at Purdue. Well, frankly, as soon as tomorrow, they start to focus on the college game. Good take. That is Green, who had 30-plus last night. Went right up at Bidunga. Great job to use that rim for protection and lays it up and in. Here's Keenan Garner. Last time he played in this building, led Fishers to a state championship. Last touch by Kentucky. Keenan going to stay home and play at IU Indianapolis for new head coach Paul Casaro and the Jaguars. And again, if you're watching going, IU what? IUPUI changed its name officially as of July 1st. but as the voice of the Jaguars, I got to get used to saying it. IU Indianapolis. Shot clock at 5. Benner picked by Travis Perry. First Indiana turnover. Evans fires a long 2. That does not go. Evans is going to play at Ohio University from Elizabethtown, just south of Louisville. Your ball pressure being set by Jeff Morrill. He's the head coach at Iroquois High School, south end of Louisville. Jan, you want factoid 1 or 2 about Iroquois High School as Badunga slams it home?
I'll take it both.
All right. Phil Sims is a graduate of Iroquois High School.
All right.
As is my sister Kelly. 4-2, Indiana in front, 2.5 minutes in. Shot blocked by Badunga. The one you may have known about, the other one that you probably surprised you a little bit.
You did. But you surprised me a lot. So here's Badunga coming from behind. We talked about all the things he can do around that rim. That's one of the ones he does as good as any is put the block on him.
Shot clock at 10. Here's Green going to play at Holy Cross. Now Perry fires for 3 and splashes it home. 29 points a game this past year. Early lead for Kentucky. Four out, 1 in, is trying to find an angle to get to Badunga. Catch, turn, result.
Get him involved early. Get that defense to really start collapsing. It's going to open up that outside.
Benner blows a tire. 3 in his eye does not go. Wyndham the tap to Badunga. Here's Fine. That's in Jack's range. So too is that one.
Yep.
Good take by Benner.
That's what he can do. He can off the dribble, hit the outside, get him really active.
The big 2 for Indiana have all 8 of their points so far. And again, those guys will play a heavy dose of minutes. Trailer 3, good kickback. That is Brady's shoulders. He's going to play at UT Martin in the OVC. The Skyhawks of UT Martin.
He had impressive numbers while at Lyon County. Of course, teammate of Travis Perry.
I would guess that Brady wasn't double teamed very often.
No.
Still a pretty good player if you're going to play at the Division I level.
One of the other facts I found out about Travis Perry, he was a 4.0 student. That's pretty impressive. And he played for his father. Boy, what a career.
Micah Davis will check in for Indiana. Will replace Aaron Fine. And Micah will have some eyeballs watching from the Bluegrass State. He is heading to Eastern Kentucky. EKU has recruited this state and Indiana very well over the years. Shoulders again for 3, not that time. Evans tried to keep it alive. Now Garner's got a 3-on-1. Finds Wyndham. Wyndham to the basket, lays it up and in. KJ Wyndham, head of the Northwestern, gets the bucket.
And Wyndham did all that. That pass was a little behind him and still was able to use that stretch and put it in.
And Wyndham may think it's no big deal to play in this building because he's played here twice the last couple of years. State champs as a junior, runner-up as a senior. Second look here for Kentucky. Perry left that one short. And Davis the rebound. Franklin Grizzly Club played for Adrian Moss at Franklin. And Badunga throws it away. Second Indiana turnover. Ball knocked out of bounds. That leads us to the media timeout. Good pace this one so far. Indiana leading Kentucky 10-8. This media timeout presented by the Milan 54 Museum. Now, if you go back to the presentation of the rings to Mr. and Miss Basketball, the gentleman that was introduced is Brad Long of Justin's. That's a very accurate statement. You might better know him as Buddy Wampler from the movie Hoosiers.
Right.
And much like yours truly, we are both honored to be on the board of the Milan 1954 Museum. The Milan is the largest single place you can find artifacts, memorabilia of the Milan Muncie Central 54 state championship game and jerseys, gear, etc. from the movie Hoosiers. Like, for example, when you walk in, every jersey produced for like the different teams in the movie on display. The bed that Shooter bounced up and down on to celebrate the Hickory State Championship, also on display. Even the sign that says "Quiet Please" is sitting on it. When can you visit? Wednesday through Saturday, 10 until 4. Milan54.org is the website It's located at 201 West Carr Street in Milan, Indiana. Jan, early thoughts on this one?
Well, I like the pace, and I really think that both these teams really want to get out and transition as much as they can. So rebounding will certainly be key. I don't think Indiana is doing as good a job checking out here early as they're going to do. Kentucky's got some at least 2 to 3 second chance opportunities. Indiana's going to have to check out a little better.
I want to thank our tremendous ISC Sports Network crew. Full day for them, especially Vince Morales. Thanks to Brian Pierce, Daryl Tibbs, Nick Rice, Rob Lynch, Richard Feely, and Eldon Wheeler. I want to thank Mike Broughton and everybody with the Indiana Basketball Coaches Association that puts their trust in us to produce all of these games that take place in the state of Indiana. I want to thank the great folks in Scottsburg that were so kind to welcome us on Sunday. Jim Self, the retiring Greg Habegger, Drew Tower at HSC on Monday. Nick Sale, Dean Hockney on Wednesday, and Kokomo Terry Downham as well, and the great staff of Pacer Sports Entertainment for having us here tonight.
That's pretty much a who's who of the guys who've been doing a lot of things for a lot of years.
Happy to be a part of it. So 10-8, Indiana in front. No further changes. Up one. Evan Haywood in there for Indiana. From Brebuff going to head to Butler. Good take to the basket by Kelron House.
Yeah, House really taking it to the house. Indiana, that was way too easy for Kentucky.
Seneca High School from Louisville, where Kelron played his high school hoops. Heading to Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State now part of Conference USA. Badunga on the drive, and again, really the only bit of size with length is Evans that can try to guard Badunga. So Flory being aggressive on that take. Quickly, Mason Ritter will check in. Young man from Bowling Green High School, going to play in the Ivy League at Columbia.
You see the foul right there, little body.
Davis turns it down. Haywood does not. There's Garner. First time, no. Second time, no. Will he get a third chance? Doesn't matter because Haywood does. Wyndham from 25.
There we go.
Bring it up. And when he hits the first one, Jan, look out.
KJ can stroke that shot. We've seen him do it many a time.
Shot blocked by Haywood. Now Badunga. Of course, Wyndham joining his older brother Jalen as Indiana All-Stars. You and I got to see Jalen play at Bellarmine a handful of years ago as an All-Star.
We sure did.
That was also the year that DeJuan Jones put the fear of the good Lord in everybody in that building.
I remember that.
Now a tackle for the Cleveland Browns in terms of going up for a dunk, and I will never forget the groan of the crowd. Is the basket going to hang on? The answer, Scotty Davenport was not charged for a new backboard. It held up just fine. Here's Benner on the drive. Wyndham again from the corner. Yes, sir. Wyndham has the last 8 points for Indiana. 16-10.
And this is what we talked about in the opening. Indiana needs that third and fourth guy to really get hot and to loosen up the number one and number two players a little bit.
Really good spacing there by Kentucky. Ritter, the benefactor. Kentucky's had 5 different players make a basket so far. Haywood, corner three, no. An inside position that time by Ritter at 6'9", but then the pressure by Indiana. Haywood goes up, reverse layup, no. Badunga goes and gets it. Badunga goes and throws it down. 3 buckets, 3 dunks for Flory Badunga.
Get it near the rim, he'll put it in.
We talk about this with NFL players. There's a catch radius there. Anything within 5 feet is going to get thrown down by Flory. One of the top recruits in the country this year. Perry strips the nets. We may be checking offensive records for this series at the current pace we're on. Kentucky hit triple digits last night. Wyndham and Badunga played against each other in the state championship last year. Not that time for Flory. Again, that's something that he has been adding to his game as of late. That 15-foot mid-range jump shot. Perry trying to throw it off of Haywood. Haywood takes it away. Wyndham looks for Badunga. Misses it, but then he got hacked. And Badunga will shoot 2.
Badunga does a good job of following his shot. Indiana's doing a good job of looking for him as the trailer.
It was not lost on me that in the junior game, guys that had played against Flory for the last couple of years were the first ones trying to throw him a lob. They're like, this has been really, the Kokomo guys figured this out the last 2 or 3 years. We'll figure this out too.
We're going to take advantage of that.
3 Indiana players await to check in when given the opportunity. 1 for Kentucky as well. And Flory, a work in progress in terms of the jump shot, as that one does not go. Tyler Doyle will check in. We mentioned Bellarmine. He's going to head to play for the Knights. These days now in Division I in the Atlantic Sun. They play their home games at Freedom Hall, which served as the Kentucky home for this game for many, many years. Tyler Parrish, Tucker Tornata will both play at the University of Indianapolis, following Scott Hetty from Marion to UIndy. Well, Parrish is in there. It's Jack Miller that is in there, who will play for his father, John, at Hanover. It was last year in March to play for a 3A state championship for Scottsburg, and Miller will get called for the foul, and 2 free throws coming up for Kentucky. And Jan, I think Miller, maybe more than any other player I've seen, I think cemented his place on the All-Star team by what he did in the state championship game.
Well, very well could be. I mean, especially when you get extra games, and that's what that is. Down the stretch, you really start to highlight yourself because fewer teams, and you clearly get the focus that you want.
Doyle got to play 1 final game in his high school gym last night. Lexington Catholic served as the host location for the Kentucky All-Stars last night. Benner, trailer 3 from 25. No. Kentucky will save it. And moving screen. Illegal screen against Mason Ritter, and that will lead us to our next media timeout. This portion of tonight's game brought to us by the Indy 11. It's the best time of year to see the Indy 11 in action, whether it's the men at Carroll Stadium or the women at Grand Park. Women have their regular season home finale against Kings Hammer on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock after beating Racing Louisville's Academy squad last night. The men return home to battle San Antonio next Saturday, June 15th. Get your tickets now at indy11.com/tickets.
I think Indiana so far has done a pretty good job of being balanced. They've really concentrated on getting inside, pushed a little bit in transition, shot a little bit from outside. I like the balance so far. Other guys are getting involved, and I still feel like that's going to be key to some other players step up and really provide some points.
Scoring so far, Binunga with 7, Wyndham with 8, and Benner with 4. That's it, and that's all. Perry with 5. He is the only player for Kentucky that has made a pair of buckets to this point. Last year, the 2 teams each won in their home state. Indiana hoping for a repeat of that this time around. Indiana won the game here by 21 a season ago, with Kentucky winning at the Sports Center in Owensboro by 4, 94-90. Before that, Indiana had won the last 7 games that had been contested. The 2 teams both split in 2017 and in 2018. So Miller, Fine, Bidunga, Benner, and Wyndham, the 5 on the floor for Indiana. For Kentucky, Darrell Bateman, Travis Perry, Tyler Doyle, Aiden Evans, and Kelron House, the 5 on the floor. Wyndham off the dribble handoff. Good inside-out action. Plenty of time on the shot clock here for Indiana. Wyndham fires and connects.
Giving him ball. He's got the shooter look right now. We've seen it a million times. A shooter gets in that comfort zone, find him, get him the ball.
How cool is this for the Wyndham family? Both brothers can say they won a state championship and played for the Indiana All-Stars in this building.
That's pretty cool.
Jalen won it as a sophomore at Ben Davis. KJ as a junior. Jalen would play at Creighton and then Ball State. Good step through, but kickball, yep. And that's a reset of the shot clock for a few seconds. If not, it would have been 3.6 left to go. Keenan Garner will check back in. Miller will check out.
Really like the defense of Aaron Fine there. Really felt like he got involved and played some really solid defense that time.
Basket cut by Kentucky and lay it up and in for Max Green.
And Kentucky's done that at least 2 or 3 times. That's really easy.
5-point lead for Indiana. Speaking of Fine. Wyndham again down the lane, goes to his opposite hand. Couldn't finish with the right.
That's just an unfortunate roll. He did everything and just didn't quite fall, but that's a really nice play.
It has taken KJ Wyndham about 1 game to figure out how to play off of Flory Bidunga. And obviously KJ played off a great post player last year in Zane Dowdy. Will start his 2nd season at Ball State. Wyndham got some ball but got some arm, and 2 free throws coming up for Bateman. Bateman averaged 23 points a game. He is one of 2 young men for this Kentucky team. They're going to go the junior college route. He's headed to Trinity Valley in Texas. Strips the net. He averaged 23 points a game for Christian County. He did not score a point in 12 minutes of action last night in the Kentucky win. It was 1 for 2 in Garner. By the way, have Benner, Bidunga, and Wyndham left the floor yet for Indiana?
I don't think, good. We've been broadcasting so much, I was thinking the exact same thing. And they may not come off either.
Fine lines up a 3, couldn't get that one to go. Benner keeps it alive. Of course, Benner won a state title at the 2A level here in this building back on March 30th, playing for his dad at Brownstown Central. His father, an outstanding player at Hanover. Going up top to Bidunga. I'm not sure if that rimmed into Flory, if he doesn't like it for some reason. He's punished it 4 different times in the first 10 minutes.
Man, when you can use him, I think the percentage he shoots from there is pretty solid. You might want to take advantage of it.
He did shoot over 80% for a season, largely on shots like that. Touched last by Keenan Garner. Haywood will come in, and he's going to get fined. Haywood going to play for Thad Mata and Butler. Had very much a bounce-back season this year to the Bulldogs.
Yes, they did. Good to see, too.
3 does not go for Evans, but a long rebound corralled by Green. Green's got a couple of buckets, but again, he was rolling last night. Runner, no. Garner able to snag it. And Wyndham maybe a little too aggressive in trying to feed Bidunga. Trailer 3 for Green. A couple of defenders make him fly off the line. If you hit that, hey, tip your cap.
My, what a shot off the back foot.
I'm starting to think what a steal Holy Cross got in this.
He put on a performance last night.
Maybe the biggest thing that Holy Cross and scored a lock bomb. It's a very niche reference, by the way. On the drive, that's a foul, yep. Evans got him with the chest, and while he had the arm straight up, still kind of walled into him. So Haywood will shoot 2 free throws. Kentucky bringing a sub to the scores table. We'll get him to you in a matter of moments. Haywood just shy of 20 points a game for the Braves this year. Now, their game against Guerin Catholic in the 3A sectional up in Noblesville was an absolute classic.
Yes, it was.
Didn't go the way the Braves would have hoped it would have. Flory Bidunga now will get a break, and I'm kind of thinking they're going to pull him right back in after the next media timeout. Tucker Tornada comes in to replace him. Haywood, as you can hear from our well-placed microphone, stripped the nets. 6-point lead for Indiana.
Well, with Indiana with the lead right here, I think he'll get as much rest as they can produce without him. And if they don't produce, he's going to be right back in.
Jay-Sean Pouncey in for the first time. Heading to play at the D2 level at Thomas More. On the drive, it's House looking for a little space. And steps called. Jeff Morrow saying he never lifted his pivot foot. The official says, no, yes, he did. He lifted and moved it. Garner gets downhill quickly. Runner is good.
Boy, have we seen him do that a few times?
I am very much looking forward to calling a lot of his games at IU Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a nice fit. I really do.
Completely new roster. He and Ron Rutland kind of the headlining local products. Ronnie, of course, had a fantastic career at Crispus Attucks.
Well, the thing I like so much about him, he can play bigger than he is.
You can kind of put him anywhere 2 to 5 on your lineup.
That's exactly the point. You're right.
Good rebound by Bateman. Missed it. Tornada, I think that's off his leg. Nope, off of Kentucky. And that will lead us to the media timeout. So timeout, Indiana leading at 28-20. Let's thank our buddy Scott Nichols of State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm and Scott Nichols are there. And there is right next to Ben Davis High School on 10th Street, just east of Girls School Road. Contact Scott, you need him at the number you see on your screen. And Scott wants to congratulate KJ Wyndham of Ben Davis, representing the West Side in this week's Indiana All-Star Game. Take a look at the action on the last time down the floor.
I really like how hard Indiana is playing, Greg. I really think they're leading with the physicality, not reacting with it, and I think sometimes that's underrated. They got this 8-point lead, and I think they're getting comfortable, and it's because how hard they're playing right now.
Paul Schwartzman, Hoosier Shooting Academy, getting a thank you from Mike Broughton as a sponsor of the Indiana-Kentucky All-Star Series. See Sam Alford enjoying the action. Down along the scores table as well. And Indiana shooting 48% from the field. They're 3 of 7 in the early going from three-point range, all of those being made so far by KJ Wyndham. Indiana out-rebounding Kentucky 17-9, and again, the Flory factor in full effect.
No doubt, and that's part of that physicality I was talking about. Clearly, he leads with that. I like the way Flory's come out and played. He's really brought his A game as far as effort and what he's doing. We know what he can do, but when he kicks on that really hard effort, he can be really, really dominant. And I'm not sure Jack Bender has ever sat down. He's the only one. Has he ever sit down?
If he did so briefly.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And as advertised, Badunga. Back up and rolling. Let's say a special low to our buddy Rob Brown. Did a fantastic job calling this game with you a season ago.
Rob's great.
Kicking back and enjoying the broadcast via ISC Sports Network. Carson Rogers, also from Kokomo, and again, John Peckinpah, the head coach.
That's a way to be active. He earned the right because he really, really got active, and they got him the ball.
Badunga with 11, and again, all 5 buckets have been from above the rim.
See, there's a difference between getting the ball, wanting the ball. He wanted the ball. They had to get it to him.
The floater, good push shot, does not go. Benner the rebound. Rogers, Haywood, Badunga. Badunga draws the double, goes opposite, misses the jump hook.
I like it, though. I like it.
Pouncey the rebound, leads the break. Shot missed, but foul going to be called. That's going to be on KJ Wyndham. And we'll see Tyler Dill go to the free throw line, where he is 1 for 2 so far tonight. Trey Buchanan about to check in. Trey from Westfield. Trey knows this building probably pretty well, or better than most. His dad is Chad, the general manager of the Indiana Pacers. So I got a feeling that Chad has a little bit of a different feeling watching the game tonight than most games he checks out from this building. Doyle makes them both. Now he will check out as Travis Perry will come back in to replace him. So 8-point lead for Indiana.
Indiana needs to finish strong here with 6:35. They've really played hard to get this lead. Now the key will be playing just as hard to keep it.
And a foul going to be called. Keenan Garner will come back in. Rogers will have a seat. You said this very well in the girls' game, Jan. Once you get to Saturday, you're going to get at least a couple of minutes, but it's going to be short for some of the guys towards the end of the bench.
Well, and especially if you didn't win the night before.
Right. It is by any means necessary the second time around. House. Another new face in for Kentucky on the drive. Shot taken and missed. That's Dayton Williams from Butler High School. Badunga runs the floor. Couldn't finish. Second chance. Fouled, and he'll shoot two.
And I talked about Benner's ability to pass. That was a really good pass from on the break from way down. He really sees the floor. I did his game in the state tournament, and he just is as good as anybody at seeing the floor and getting the ball.
So as Floyd Badunga goes to the line, his appearance in tonight's game, as with Carson Rogers and John Peckinpah, presented by our friends at Coca-Cola of Kokomo. Coca-Cola of Kokomo has been a part of the fabric of Kokomo and Howard County since 1907 and is proud to serve as the official hydration partner of 26 schools across the area, including the Kokomo Wildcats. Find out more at cckokomo.com. Badunga makes one of two, and again, that's usually his speed at the free throw line. That is a play in the toolbox for Kentucky late if they have to go to the foul line and trying to make Flory earn them from there.
Flory with 12 now.
On the drive, Badunga got to that one. Coach Morrow asking for a goaltend, didn't get the call.
No, and you know, all you need to do is 4 or 5 of those a game, and that's 10 points.
Buchanan gonna walk on at Iowa. Isolation for Flory. Finds the double. Garner shot blocked. Great recovery by Kentucky, but Badunga cashes in regardless. And then there was a push in the back at the end of that.
Yeah, I don't really think I think he was being soft. I don't think there was anything there, but you can't do that. I think he was almost playing with him. Can't do it, I get it. I don't think there's anything malicious there. He said, get out of here.
11-point lead for Indiana. Step back three. Not that time. Garner.
Garner with good inside position, Greg.
And again, Garner can lead the break. So versatile.
Indiana gets something here. They may force Kentucky to start thinking timeout.
Davis. Oop, not that time. And Davis averaged 25 points a game at Franklin.
Perry's been a little bit quiet here lately.
He's got Haywood guarding him. House on the drive. Up and under. Good move, just didn't finish. And Badunga somehow finds Garner.
How about the pass?
And a timeout going to be called by Kentucky.
How about the pass?
Garner showing that, hey, Flory is the only guy that can kind of throw it home. And Indiana now enjoys a 13-point advantage. Tonight's game presented in part by the Ed Martin Automotive Group. I want to congratulate Aaron Fine of Noblesville for being a part of this Indiana All-Star Series. When it comes to your next car, Ed Martin is the only name you need to know. Find out more at edmartin.com.
Well, we talk about transition. You can't have transition if you don't rebound. Indiana doing a better job of clearing the board. And right here's an example. When you get that rebound, it gives you that opportunity to run transition and get the stuff.
So Badunga with 14, Wyndham with 11. Garner with an emphatic second field goal in tonight's game. And Indiana a 13-point lead, 15 and a half minutes in. And Indiana trying to avoid a Kentucky sweep for the first time since 1986. Looks like Isaac Andrews is going to get his first run of the game tonight. Isaac going to play for Greg Tonigal at Indiana Wesleyan, somebody you know very well.
Yes. Greg's did an outstanding job at Indiana Wesleyan. Won a couple, NAIA national champions, at least 2 that I can remember. And he's really set that school on fire as far as basketball concerned.
So 5 on the floor for Kentucky. Dayton Williams, Aiden Evans, Max Green, Kelron House, and Travis Perry. Micah Davis, Keenan Gardner, Flory Badunga, Isaac Andrews, Jack Benner. Perry. Good look wouldn't go, and there's Andrews. Andrews, of course, got to play in this building, too, in the 2A state championship game. Great recovery by Perry to knock that ball away. And then Andrews, was given the foul. Not a lot of whistles so far in this game. It'll be underneath out of bounds.
Yeah, we had talked about another player that decided not to play, and that's Trenton Noah, who's going to Kentucky. He was probably numbers 2 in line for Mr. Basketball, or one of the top 3 for Kentucky.
Badunga got his hands in the passing lane to force that turnover. Garner fires a 3. That does not go. Andrews, the weak side glass. Reset here for Indiana. Benner will pull. Long 2, no. Badunga showing the touch.
He's just been so active. That's what you like to see. 16 for Badunga.
16 and 9. He's a rebound away from a double-double. And I think this is going to be a blocking foul on the pass against Andrews. There'll be no free throws yet. Next foul is the 7th against Indiana. So it'll be 1 plus the bonus after that. Shoulders returns. Green with a hand in his face, no problem.
Yes, sir. There's Max Green again.
It's going to be a good year for Holy Cross. I can't say that I've followed him a lot over the years, other than knowing Ralph Willard coached there for a while. It's going to be a good year for Holy Cross.
Listen, the 35 or 36 was no fluke. He's got 9 tonight.
Micah Davis gets his first basket. Davis last night had a couple of field goals, 9 points in total, went 5 of 6 from the line. Nice move, good bucket. That's Aiden Evans. Play for the Bobcats.
Yep, of Ohio. Elizabethtown.
E-Town.
E-Town, baby.
E-Town. Benner down the lane. Benner got bumped. Jack Benner will shoot 2. Jack a couple of early buckets, but frankly, he's just kind of deferred to his teammates, hasn't needed to force the issue. And Indiana has been so good at getting like this to the rim, and then had to shoot a lot of threes, which is Benner's strong suit.
I still believe, I could be wrong, I don't think he's ever came out of the ball game. I don't recall it if he did.
Jack missed some time during the regular season with a couple of different injuries.
Yes, he did.
Hyperextended his knee against Seymour in a big rivalry game. Then he missed the game against Lawrence North the next time out, then got hurt playing in North Davies' big holiday tournament.
Yeah, I thought he was spectacular in that state game. He really knew what was on the line, took care of business that day.
Well, he was spectacular the entire state tournament.
Yeah.
And I think we had a little bit of a spill on the front row, and we wanted to stop action for anybody who got hurt or stepped on that, hence the reason for the momentary delay.
Coach Beckenball don't like that. His team's playing pretty well. He don't want the stoppage in action.
John has the unique nature of being able to have played in this building as a high school player in a state final for Muncie Central. I believe he got to play in this building as a college player at IPFW when he played for Dane 5. Now getting into coach here as well. Again, coached in the state finals last year. Was a college head coach that wanted to come back to the Hoosier State.
Yeah. Spent a couple years at Noblesville before taking the Kentucky, or the Kokomo job, I should say.
Yep. Went to Noblesville from Wheeling Jesuit at the Division II level. Somebody will get a new drink and lost their front row privileges because of that pause in the action.
You know how much that thing just cost him?
House, good move. May have been a bit of a nudge, but it's not one if they don't call it. House got it to go. It's an 11-point lead for Indiana.
Got to finish strong here with 2:08.
Shot clock at 6. Badunga going to work. Drop step over the opposite shoulder, has to go up. Got it on the rim, but well defended by Kentucky.
It was well defended. I'm not sure how he ever got that on the glass. Incredibly long arms, because that was an awkward angle.
The pull by House is pure. Back-to-back buckets, now a 30-second timeout taken by the aforementioned Coach Peckinpah. This 30-second timeout brought to us by the Lee Company. Congratulations to Tyler Parrish of Chesterton, representing Northwest Indiana in tonight's game. And the Lee Company's representative in Northwest Indiana is Sean Doherty. Give him a call at 765-586-9706. What does the Lee Company do? Well, they're simply Indiana's largest school equipment supplier. So from bleachers to lockers, chairs to cafe tables, basketball goals to wall pads, Lee Company is your source, and Sean is your guy at 765-586-9706.
Kentucky chiseling away at this lead a little bit. Got it down to 9. Coach Peckinpah, I think, takes this time out to make a statement. Listen, we had a double-digit lead, and all of a sudden we don't. We've got to get back to where we were doing.
And Indiana led at halftime last night. Kentucky went into overdrive in the second half. Part of that was not having Flory Badunga on the floor. Jack Benner. I think it's been really simple for Indiana. It has been get the ball to the rim frequently.
Yeah. And I think that play was called out of bounds, and that's exactly what he wanted.
Good find. Evans, top of the key 3, no. Good crash by Shoulders, but just couldn't hang on to it. 11-point lead, less than a minute to play in the half. Benner, instead of going around the screen,
yes,
connects on the 3.
2 possessions out of that timeout, Greg.
So Benner now in double figures with 10. 3, no. This closing minute could be awfully big for Indiana. Badunga runs the floor and jams it home.
Indiana kicked it into gear last 3 possessions. Quite honestly, Kentucky has kind of just stood around this last 3 possessions, and all of a sudden it's 47-31.
7 quick points by Indiana, and the lead expands to 16. Shot clock turned off. House looking to go to work. Not that time. Haywood the rebound. Outlet to Benner. 3, 2, 1. Half court.
Yes, sir! Yes, sir! How about it?
Hashtag SportsCenter Top 10. A small logo is of no concern to Jack Benner. He can still make the logo 3. 50-31 for Indiana. A 10-0 spurt to finish half number 1. Halftime show next on ISC.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, world's game, Indiana's team.
What's in a name? What's in a name? Ed Martin Automotive Group, the only name you need to know.
At Forum Credit Union, our small business professionals work with local companies to help them prosper. We know that running a small business is more than a full-time job, and our services give you the guidance and support your business needs. Visit forumcu.com to see how. At Forum Credit Union, we know strong communities invest in education. That's why the Forum Foundation has given over $800,000 to local educators and students pursuing their collegiate dreams. Learn how Forum gives back at forumcu.com.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, world's game, Indiana's team.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
What a finish for the Indiana All-Stars. Kentucky got back within 9, then Indiana with 10 points. Badunga 18. Benner a just past half-court three. A magical first half for Indiana, 50-31. Jan, you know what else is magical? Quack Daddy Donuts. They want to congratulate Trey Buchanan on representing Westfield on the Indiana All-Stars. Their donuts are fresh, made-to-order cake donuts with 6 icings and 17 toppings to choose from. You know that's 102 different combinations you can have, Jan. Quack Daddy can be found at 161st and Spring Mill Road in Westfield and online at quackdaddydonuts.com. Yes, those donuts are that good. Yes, the end of the half was that good for Indiana. Your thoughts on what you saw from, again, as we have said, a very motivated Indiana in tonight's game.
Well, there's no question. I think Coach Peckinpah takes Badunga aside and goes, listen, I'm coming to you tonight. You better produce. Get us off to a good start. And I think Badunga listened just fine, as he has to Peckinpah for the last 2 years. And then clearly everybody else, I thought everybody else really got in the flow good, but clearly Badunga was the answer for Indiana.
18 points for Floyd Badunga, 13 for Jack Benner, 11 for KJ Wyndham. Again, you do the math quickly. That's 42 of 50. Micah Davis 2, Evan Haywood 2, Keenan Garner 4. Again for Kentucky, Max Green 9, Kel Ronhouse 6, Travis Perry with 5. It's not that it's been poor from Kentucky. It's just been that good so far for Indiana.
Yeah, I thought that the energy level that Indiana came out with just really forced Kentucky into a little bit of a hole. They haven't played bad, but I will tell you the last part of that first half, I thought they turned flat a little bit. They weren't moving, really just didn't have their offense flowing at all. For them, Kentucky have to get back to moving, cutting, and getting better shots.
At the half, Indiana leads Kentucky 50-31. Stay tuned. More halftime coverage comes your way next as you're watching the World Series of High School Basketball right here on ISC.
It's Dino Night with Indy 11.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, world's game, Indiana's team.
At Forum Credit Union, we provide smart ways to borrow money for life's planned and unplanned expenses. We also have fun, easy ways to save money. See how Forum can help you with your financial goals at forumcu.com.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, world's game, Indiana's team.
At Forum Credit Union, we make it easy to focus on what matters most, removing unneeded stress and worry. From making secure mobile payments to earning cash back on everyday purchases, we've got you covered. See more at forumcu.com.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups of the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, world's game, Indiana's team.
Back at, well, what the guy that normally sits in this chair, because we're broadcasting from the Pacers radio location at the mid-level tonight. Mark Boyle calls this the world's greatest basketball arena. I think Mark's phenomenal. I'm not going to disagree with him. We love being here. 50-31, Indiana leads Kentucky. Well, our next basketball on the ISC Sports Network is 2 months from tonight. It is the championship of the City League. What is the City League? Well, it's the best place to see Indiana All-Stars from years gone by. June, July, and August, 17 former Indiana All-Stars, both men and women, will suit up at our state's premier summer basketball event. Names like Andre Owens, Bria Goss, Marcus Teague, Portia Green, Trayvon Blewett, Sharika Webb, all compete this summer long at the Bonner Fitness and Learning Center on the campus of Tech High School. Tip-off is June 26th. Again, the championship games we'll have for you on ISC on Thursday, August 8th. Come on and watch Indiana's high school basketball stars of previous years at the City League, thecityleague.org, City League Indy on all major social media platforms. Again, legends on those screens. Thanks to Austin Taylor for his continued support of what we do on the ISC Sports Network. So with that, let's roll the highlights to you from half number one. Obviously, Jan, if you are Coach Peckinpah, Coaches Hoffman and Thompson, his assistants, I don't think there's much you're changing from half number one.
No, they did exactly what they want to do. The key was for them is to get off to a good start. Get the top two guys involved. I thought Benner really moved well without the ball, played well with Badunga inside, outside.
Indiana as a team, 51% from the floor, 63% from the free throw line, but 45% from three-point range. The most jaw-dropping stat, but knowing Flory Badunga's involved, maybe it shouldn't be that surprising. Indiana is out rebounding Kentucky 30-13.
Yeah, and quite honestly, that's what they have to do. They've really taken Kentucky, I think, out of the game. We talked about transition. That starts with that rebounding.
If you're Kentucky and if you're Jeff Morrow, what is your message to your guys at the break?
Well, Travis Perry, he's got to get back involved. I mean, here's a guy that averages just under 30 and really kind of was nowhere to be found. He's got 5 points. I think you got to start going through him. He's Mr. Basketball. He's got more points than anybody in the state of Kentucky. He's got to get more involved. Now, some of that's on him, but they got to find him too.
Again, you see the highlights. It has been a dunk show for Flory Badunga, for Keenan Garner, and from 40, no problem for Jack Benner. Again, Indiana led at halftime last night. Didn't lead by this margin. They ended up losing by 20. Will the tables turn tonight? We'll find out. We'll take this quick timeout. Come back with more of our halftime show from Gamebridge Fieldhouse. Indiana leads it by 19 on the ISC Sports Network.
It's Dino Night with Indy 11.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups of the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, world's game, Indiana's team.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
What's in a name? What's in a name? Ed Martin Automotive Group, the only name you need to know.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, World's Game, Indiana's team.
At Forum Credit Union, we help members plan for life's major milestones. Our team of wealth advisors work with members at every stage, from changing jobs and 401ks to creating wealth plans for future generations. Learn more at forumcu.com.
Faith Wiseman signing some autographs here in tonight's contest. And Faith, part of the winning effort by the girls squad, 66-64 against Kentucky earlier this evening. Greg Rakestraw, Jan Bozier with you, and while we have the opportunity, let's recap that game. What impressed you about Team Indiana's victory to get the sweep of Kentucky this year?
Well, it's one of those games where you don't get, high marks for the way it was played at first, but what you do get high marks is for your adjustment that they made at halftime. And listen, they have 1 3-pointer, and it was key, but only one, and that was a shot they hit with really consistency last night. So they just did the things they needed to do to win. At the end of the day, that was all that mattered.
One of the most common phrases these days is gritty, not pretty. That would describe that game.
Yeah.
And again, Indiana could not buy a bucket for a good chunk of that game, but they kept getting to the free throw line. They kept forcing turnovers, and they just found a way to get first sweep in 8 years for Indiana.
Yeah, I thought the Indiana guards, specifically in that second half, really caused problems for Kentucky guards, either by getting steals or just really causing havoc for them to get any type of dribble drives or good looks.
So Indiana leads Kentucky by a score of 50-31. We'll take one final break, and we'll come back for second half action as Indiana looks to get the split of the weekend on the boys' side of the ledger after Kentucky won handily last night. Back to downtown Indianapolis after this on the ISC Sports Network.
It's Dino Night with Indy 11.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, World's Game, Indiana's team.
At Forum Credit Union, we know it's not always easy to manage your finances. That's why we post quick tip videos and infographics every month to help you with all of life's big and small financial decisions. Follow us today and access free resources at forumcu.com.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, World's Game, Indiana's team.
What's in a name? What's in a name? Ed Martin Automotive Group, the only name you need to know.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
Welcome back, Greg Rakestraw, Jan Bozier. Thanks to Pete Smith, who joined me on Sunday and Monday. Rob Moorhead made the drive to Kokomo on Wednesday night, thanks to our wonderful ISC Sports Network crew. Had Sean Walker producing on Sunday, Jordan Shue on Monday. J.D. Arlen has turned into Mr. Kokomo this week as he's doing Kokomo Vipers soccer as we speak. And Vince Morales in to handle all the action here at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. And wrapping up this All-Star Series, which has gone now on for 8+ decades.
You know, one of my biggest memories of Indiana All-Stars, especially for the men, is George McGinnis. Just dominating, him and Steve Downing. I listened to it on the radio, and it was one of the most it was a packed house, amazing thing.
And of course, George left us within the last 12 months, 53 points and 31 rebounds.
Something like that. It was
in that vicinity after it was being, I didn't think McGinnis was that good of a player. Well,
it was one of the most amazing things that I'd ever heard, and I was visualizing because I was listening to it on the radio at the time, but man, it was something special.
It is always special when these two states get together, their shared love of basketball. We held up halftime a little bit to make sure that all these players had the full 3 minutes to kind of warm up and get ready for half number 2. If you're Kentucky, Jan, what do you have to do at the start of the second half?
Well, I think they got to pick up the energy level a little bit. I felt like, I don't know if they had tired legs or just were a little flat there. Much like the Indiana girls had to do, they had to adjust at halftime. Listen, you're going to get back in this game, you're going to start with energy, and then you're going to turn defense into offense, and I really think they've got to get some of their scorers involved. Listen, they got some young kids that can put up serious number. Antonio Williams averaged 26. House, Green averaged 32. Obviously, Perry averaged 30. So they got some people who know how to get the job done when it comes to scoring. They got to get them involved.
So Indiana looking for the sweep of tonight's action, girls and boys. Again, the senior boys for Indiana got a win against a ridiculously talented junior class at Kokomo on Wednesday night. So the senior boys are trying to take 2 of 3, as frankly the senior girls did, because they were beaten by the Indiana juniors when those teams got together on Wednesday night.
How about that junior class, though?
On both sides.
Yeah, on both sides.
Yep.
Boys and girls. Wow, are we going to have a treat this coming year or not? Man, there's some serious talent both in the men's and women's coming up to this next senior class.
Well, for those of us on the Indiana perspective, there are 3 or 4 legitimate Mr. and Miss basketball candidates. This year, you counted it was between the 2 guys that are on your screen right now, between Jack Benner and Flory Badunga after Cannon Catchings had elected to leave Brownsburg. But it's going to be some really tight races in the state of Indiana this year. So KJ Wyndham, Aaron Fine, Flory Badunga, Keenan Garner, and Jack Benner starting 5 on the floor for Indiana. Travis Perry, Kelron House, Mason Ritter. Good work by House to force the steal against Fine.
It's going to be key for Indiana. Listen, you had a really good first half, but you have not won the ball game.
And credit House for going right at Badunga and finding a way around him. Well done.
And that's the pressure they're going to have. They, being Kentucky, are going to have to continue to get back in this, and almost had another steal.
And nearly a second turnover. Badunga, not that time. Garner, going to be a foul called against Kentucky as Garner was hooked that time by Tyler Doyle. Doyle, an incredulous look, but he had one of his arms kind of wrapped around the waist of Garner as he was going up for the rebound. And then a foul going to be called on a hold.
Greg, one of the most amazing things I've ever seen Flory Badunga do, it's not basketball. I actually watched him play a little bit of a soccer game, and he really moved incredibly well.
Garner, shot blocked, but got it back. Now, Flory played striker for Kokomo.
Yes, he did.
In a handful of games this past fall. We tried to get our ISC cameras up to show it. We were working on trying to get a game in, and just couldn't make it work. Pretty, that's a 2. That's shoulders. Put on the line, got it to go.
And all of a sudden, Kentucky gets a steal. Got a couple shots. Indiana's got to answer the bell here.
Wyndham, not that time. He made 3 in the first half, but kind of went quiet over the last 10 minutes of the half. He really got the offense started for Indiana. Kentucky 3, no. Long rebound, and foul going to be called. I think on Benner for a hold, yep.
Good hustle both by Indiana and Kentucky. Good thing that's ended in a non-collision because they were both going after it hard.
Shot clock at 6. House needs to go up. I'm not sure he's aware. Didn't get it off in time. Nope. Shot clock violation.
Yeah, and that just takes a little time to get used to.
He's going to have to play at Jacksonville State. Good duck in by Badunga. Steps through and lays it up and in.
Yeah, and that was all caused because really good space, and they got an isolation inside because everybody else really got their defender to follow them outside.
I'm very impressed by Indiana's ability to run a set offense on about 5 days of practice, knowing that everything you do is going to be based around your potential NBA level talent at the 5. And everybody has figured that out within like 2 days of practice. Benner picks up the foul, which is his second of the half and second of the game. Perry for 3. Pretty.
Yeah, I just feel like they got to find him more. He's got to get more involved, and he's that guy who can put up serious points.
His second made 3. Dunga about 15 feet from the basket. He'll work his way down, step through with the left hand, could not finish, and Fine going to be called for the foul.
Fine with effort, but he comes a little late and gets over the back call.
Evan Haywood now will come in, and that'll be for Aaron Fine. And Fine's dad was the coach of Coach Peckinpah at Muncie Central, then was an assistant coach at Noblesville for Scott McClellan. Aaron, part of a sectional champ last year at Noblesville, and one of the best teams in the state this year. Shoulders pulls from 15. Missed it. Rebound corralled by Haywood. Benner. Yep. Drugged that pivot foot.
Sure did.
Are they going to call Badunga on a foul clear now? They're going to call Badunga down low. They're going to say Badunga had a foul. His second foul.
Just 2 on him.
Good take.
That's too easy.
House, he has been their best instigator of offense tonight.
Well, it's a great play on his part because he's seen nobody from Indiana was coming over at all, and he just takes it an easy layup.
Kentucky just starting to get within striking distance.
Yes, they are.
Badunga fouled, would not go, but Badunga will shoot 2.
Well, if you're going to let him get the ball, there's not much you can do. You got to get some help either fronting him or from behind, but if you're going to let him get the ball in that deep in the paint, what are you going to do? I mean, you foul him. That's pretty much all you can do.
Our friends at Coca-Cola of Kokomo, proud to support Flory Badunga, Carson Rogers, and John Peckinpah of Kokomo High School in tonight's Indiana-Kentucky All-Star game. Coca-Cola of Kokomo has been serving North Central Indiana since 1907, and they are the official hydration partner of the Kokomo Wildcats and 25 other great schools throughout the area. Learn more at cckokomo.com. So Flory with 21. Still a rebound away from a double-double, and connects on the free throw. And spent 3 years playing at Kokomo High School. Rejuvenated one of the historically great programs in the state of Indiana. House, not that time. No, there's rebound number 10 for Flory.
I kind of felt like he pushed that one a little bit.
Wyndham turns it down. Haywood does not. Good thing he didn't. Haywood's first field goal. He's got 5. And just as Kentucky an inch closer, the lead gets to 19.
That jump ball.
And the arrow will keep it here.
That's just good defense. He, unfortunately for Perry, brings the ball down a little bit. That's a no-no, but that's just a good defensive play.
So timeout taken on the floor, media timeout. Arrow will keep it to Kentucky. Tonight's game presented by Scott Nichols of State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm and Scott Nichols are there, and there is right next to Ben Davis High School on 10th Street, just east of Girls School Road. Contact Scott when you need him at the number seen on your screen. And Scott wants to congratulate KJ Wyndham on representing the West Side in this week's Indiana All-Star Series.
Well, if you're Indiana right now, Greg, you're going to win this thing by just playing solid defense. You know, be patient on offense. You got the inside-outside thing going, but you can afford to be a little patient here, but you're going to win this thing on the defensive side right now.
And all these young men about to head off to their respective colleges, begin their college careers. Won't be much of a break in terms of basketball here at Gamebridge Fieldhouse, because obviously the Indiana Fever have never been a hotter ticket than they are right now. Fever winners in D.C. last night. Next up for us in the ISC Sports Network, Wednesday night, it is Indy 11 women's soccer. Indy 11 women won last night. I think it's Racing Louisville 3-2 with a penalty in the 91st minute. They'll take on Kings Hammer on Wednesday night. Be sure to join us then. Angela Berry White will join me at 7 o'clock on the ISC Sports Network. As Indiana Fever are next in action. They are on the road on Monday against the Connecticut Sun. Next home game will be here against the Atlanta Dream. That is on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Inbounds coming up for Kentucky. Here's Perry. Tyler Parrish in now for Indiana. Perry on the bounce. Tough shot. Nicely done by Perry.
Yeah. He has 10 and House has 10.
Haywood from the free throw line, no. Rebound corralled by Kentucky. Shot blocked by Garner, but Jeff Morrow was working that official about a moving screen against floor at the other end. It resulted in a foul against Keenan Garner on that play. 2 free throws coming up. So Shoulders, and Travis Perry's high school teammate, averaged 17.5 points a game. No Kate Unseld tonight for the Kentucky All-Stars. Jackson Washington here, but has a rather significant arm injury. See on the bench, he's got pretty much almost like a wrist to shoulder cast.
Yeah, I've seen that.
On that left arm. He's heading to play at Florida Gulf Coast in the very near future. So it's 11 in uniform tonight for Kentucky. Wyndham had his pocket picked by Perry. Perry will stop and pop from 25. Good decision. He's got 13, and Jan is now 12.
Yes,
this is
sir.
as close as Kentucky's been since late in the first half.
We talked about this in the women's game, the women's game earlier. This is kind of a marathon game. It's all about the finish.
Badunga from 16, and if he is making that, good luck. He's now got 24 and 10. 30-second timeout by Indiana. That will turn into a full timeout. Our friends of the Ed Martin Automotive Group want to congratulate Aaron Fine of Noblesville for representing Hamilton County Not to mention Keenan Garner of Fishers, also their Hamilton County product that is playing in this all-star game. Of course, Ed Martin's got locations in both Fishers as well as Noblesville, not to mention Anderson and Indianapolis. And of course, you can find him anywhere online, edmartin.com. When it comes to your next car, Ed Martin is the only name you need to know.
That's where I bought mine. Ed Martin at Fishers.
All right, revision to the liner for the upcoming fall season. Official automotive provider of Jan Bozier.
That is very true. They were.
I'm just learning this now.
No, I think I've mentioned it multiple times. Actually, no, we just bought my wife's new car at Ed Martin Nissan.
Greg Rakestraw, Jan Bozier with you here on the ISC Sports Network. Thanks to our great crew: Vince Morales, Brian Pierce, Daryl Tibbs, Nick Rice, Rob Lynch, Richard Feely, and Eldon Wheeler. 2 timeouts left for Indiana, 3 left for Kentucky at this point. Indiana shooting 50% from the floor, 46% from three-point range. Kentucky's numbers are by no means bad. 42% from the floor, 75% from the line, 42% from three. The difference is they don't have a Flory Badunga.
No, they don't.
Then again, most people don't. We're going to look at the Kentucky bench. I want to recognize the people that are just off to the right of that huddle. J.R. Van Hoos, who was a phenomenal high school basketball player that played at Kentucky and Marshall. His wife, Kayla. Scott Chalk's on the other side of them. Those are the 3 people that really are the force behind the Kentucky All-Stars. Again, this is the first time we have not gone down for the games in Kentucky since 2018. We've gotten to know them very well, and always good to see them, and want to make sure we say hello and thank you to them for the job they play in keeping this All-Star Series going year by year. Good move. Left hand finish. That's shoulders. He's got 9.
Yeah, that was a very solid move. Went right at Flory that time.
Micah Davis, Carson Rogers in for Indiana. We saw Rogers briefly. Davis played a little bit longer. Benter. I think Jack had decided he was going to the rim early on that possession.
He got bumped a couple times and said, okay, that's it. I'm taking it to the rim.
I think Jack will be a difference maker at Purdue. I'm not sure he's got a lot of playing time immediately. Maybe he does, just because you have so many seniors. Mason Gillis now at Duke. Obviously, Jack plays a different role. You've got Fletcher Lawyer in front of him. You've got Braden Smith. You've got Miles Coleman. That's why I kind of think it might be a bit of an onboarding process for Jack, but I think he will contribute at some point. Makes one, misses one. Here's Green. Green tonight with 9 after more than 30 and 9 to go. Shoulders again, not that time, and great save by Kentucky. Ritter, no, and Badunga the uncontested rebound. Good hustle by Dayton Williams to keep that ball alive for the visitors from the Bluegrass as well. Rogers going to play at St. Francis for Chad Lacrosse. Benner tried to find Haywood, throws it away. Green on the runner, got it. Max Green, 11.
Green's got some really nice length to him. He can do some things. We mentioned his shooting, but he has an ability to take it to the rim as well.
And again, now it's an 11-point game, and Davis. I wouldn't say that was in the flow of the offense, but clearly Indiana will take it. And again, Davis, an outstanding player at Franklin. He's part of the core 6 as a junior last year. They played in both the junior game in Kentucky and the junior-senior game at Cathedral. Shot taken and missed. Badunga now with 12 rebounds.
Indiana had shot a lot of threes, but they've had that 50% percentage.
Haywood couldn't get it to go. You're right, they have been selective in their takes and makes. Green looking to answer. Got fouled and one. Chance for a 4-point play.
Okay, I think he sold that one. There might have been a little contact, but give him credit for making the thing.
Oh, he got hit, no doubt. Did he embellish it? Yes, but he absolutely got whacked
Let's
on the
take
arm.
a look. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, I think he got him on the wrist.
I think he had his wrist, his forearm, and his elbow.
Hey, listen, at the end of the day, he still made it. There was some contact. Give me credit.
It was a complete game of operation when he hit him on that one. And he gets the 4-point play. Green again getting hot. He's got 15, and Jan, it's now a 10-point game.
It is definitely a 10-point game, and it's still anybody's game. 12-24.
Lead has been sliced in half since halftime. Deep three, Haywood, and how about that? He fouled Green on a three. Green goes right back at him. And a chance for the two players to exchange 4-point plays.
How about, got to hit him here. How about nullifying the other great 4-point play?
Jan, I'm not sure I've ever seen that.
You could be right. I don't know if I've ever seen it either.
Now Haywood has to cash in. And he does, no problem.
He does. I'm trying to remember. If I've ever seen it, I forgot.
Tucker Tornata from Evansville Memorial High School. And it committed to play for Scott Heddy at Marion. Going to make the move with Scott back to his alma mater, the University of Indianapolis. Greyhounds, the defending champs in the GLVC. It'll be a largely different team, but with Scott Heddy, still a good one. Green off 1 foot.
Man, he is a player.
Right.
He is flat out a player.
Get your Holy Cross season tickets now.
That young man is impressive.
Davis gets downhill, and he was held. Foul against Kentucky, there's 6, no free throw. Both teams being the bonus now. For the final 11:41, that leads us to our media timeout. Tonight's game presented in part by the Lee Company. The Lee Company wants to congratulate Tyler Parrish of Chesterton for representing the region of Northwest Indiana in tonight's Indiana-Kentucky All-Star game. What's the Lee Company? The Lee Company is Indiana's largest school equipment supplier. From bleachers to lockers, chairs to cafe tables, basketball goals to wall pads, Lee Company is your source. Call Sean Doherty for all your school needs in Northwest Indiana at 765-586-9706.
Well, with 11:41, Indiana back to a 12-point lead. This thing's still not over. They're going to have to continue to pound and pound and pound to finish this thing. Last thing you'd want to do right now, Greg, is play this good, this hard, and let this thing go away in the last 12 minutes.
It's been double digits the entire half. But again, just kind of hanging around has been Kentucky at this point. Indiana unable to land that knockout blow just yet.
Well, if you're Kentucky, you wonder if they're a little short-handed, but you wonder if you got enough energy to make that big run that they need to find.
103-82 was the final score a night ago in favor of the team from the Bluegrass State.
Been a lot of fun here today. A lot of fun. Good crowd for the girls, good crowd for the boys. Good game so far. Really been a fun day.
Badunga, again, his breaks have been minuscule in tonight's game. Tornata came in. Flory is sat for about a minute. Flory comes right back in. Haywood, Davis, Garner, and Wyndham, the 5 on the floor for Indiana. So Benner gets a breather. Haywood a long 2, no. Rebound corralled by Shoulders.
Big possession for Kentucky here. Yep.
And 1+1 foul on KJ Wyndham, which will be his 3rd. So Shoulders has 3 for Kentucky. Wyndham now has 3 for Indiana.
And I suspect that Kentucky talked about in that timeout, Greg, about getting to the free throw line, stopping the clock, because they really were in attack mode right at the rim.
Shoulders' first free throws of the game for him. Frankly, there's not been a lot of free throws shot in either direction in tonight's game. Shoulders got every bit of the rim, just couldn't finish. Great job by Williams to rip that ball away. And Indiana's been dominant on the glass, but Williams makes the effort there. Green shot does not go. Evans had it, then lost it. Garner runs the floor. Garner could not finish. And that's going to be out of bounds off of Kentucky.
Garner went up strong, but Kentucky does a pretty good job of getting back in transition to get 2 or 3 hands on that thing.
Basket cut by Garner. He got fouled by Dayton Williams, and Keenan Garner will shoot 2. Keenan, part of that state championship team at Fishers. Keenan going to play at IU Indianapolis. Taden Metzger heading to play at Huntington. With several key pieces back, including 3 that played this week representing Indiana. Both Cooper Zachary and Jason Gardner Jr. as sophomores to be played in the Futures game. And John Anthony Hall played for Indiana in the junior victory against Kentucky. John, a 3-sport athlete at Fishers High School.
And does them all incredibly well.
And last week on Saturday was in the state track and field final. Next day played basketball. And he may play neither of those sports in college. He might be a football guy. Perry pulls from 15. Perry's got 15. And I think the big line of demarcation for Kentucky is if this gets to single digits.
Yep.
Davis past Perry and scores it.
That was under control, and he went up strong. That was well done.
Those guys will not be far removed from each other. Travis is going to be in Lexington. Mike is going to be in Richmond, playing for EKU. Penner and Fine will check back in for Indiana momentarily. 2 players away at the score table for Kentucky. On the drive, Evans could not finish through Badunga. Garner the rebound. Davis in the corner for 3, almost banked that in. Long 2, no. That was Dayton Williams. Plays at Butler High School in Louisville.
Peckinpah's telling him slow it down. He wants to go inside, outside. Why not?
Frankly, Indiana has not been as dedicated to getting Badunga touches in this half.
I completely
as
agree.
They were in the first. Wyndham a miss. Garner the rebound and Garner the foul.
And you can't forget what got you here. I completely agree with that.
And while we have sung the praises for Flory Badunga, and certainly deserves to be so, Keenan Garner is 1 rebound away himself from having double-digit boards in this game. But he has now missed 3 consecutive free throws. So Fine and Benner in. Davis and Haywood will have a seat. Perry gets a breather for Kentucky. Evans gets a breather for Kentucky. Looks like Brady Shoulders will do the same. And now Garner connects. Lead a baker's dozen for Indiana. Garner just got there in time. Wins the foot race. And also able to change in midair from a dunk to a layup.
What a hustle play. Well done. Got his own steal and finished.
Doyle around Badunga. Didn't get a block, but certainly altered the shot. And every time that Kentucky has kind of got within striking distance, Indiana's done just enough to fend them away. And a blocking foul against Kentucky means 1 plus the bonus for Keenan Garner, and Keenan looking to become the 4th Indiana player in double digits in tonight's game.
Garner's made a living at getting to the line here in the second half, and that usually tells you that you're going to the rim hard, because that's where you end up when you play like he does and has here in this second half, attacking the rim.
Only negative free throws for Keenan. And steps called. House couldn't keep that pivot foot planted. I think House is saying I got bumped. Second time that House has said, hey, I've kept that pivot foot planted. To no avail from the officials. Fine all the way down.
Good recognition. Nobody comes over.
Aaron Fine lays it up and in. The lead is 17. And this lead is just kind of bounced back and forth between 10 and 20 the entire half. Badunga just caught that. Just caught it.
He didn't block it. He just went up and grabbed it.
Benner, 4-3. That might have been the coup de grace if that one went down. Put back, no. Garner the rebound. There's his 10th board. And a basket gives him a double-double. Couldn't finish that one, but this is starting to turn into open gym at this point with 7.5 minutes left to play. Good take to the basket, and Badunga just kind of sidesteps and avoids that one. As Dayton Williams gets his first field goal. Not done just yet. But you can also kind of see the wear and tear of playing heavy minutes in back-to-back nights. And again for Indiana, their third game in 4 days. The Kentucky seniors play the juniors a week earlier. Give them a little more time in between games. Shot clock at 4. Badunga had to fade away, and that's shot clock by, well, doesn't matter, possession for Kentucky. They want the run out anyway. And Garner got the block, but Williams still powered it through. And maybe there's time for one last push for Kentucky. I think Indiana's hoping for a breather at some point.
Peckinpah just keeps watching the clock. Could you please just keep running?
Fine just kept waiting for Badunga, and the lane open, and he took it, but just missed it. A good look. So again, a 3 this time down could make it a 10-point game. Green's drive makes it 11. Green now with 19 points to lead Kentucky. He has over 50 between the 2 games now for the weekend. That is impressive.
Kentucky realizes they needed this one big run. Let's see what they do here defensively.
Badunga got fouled. Bateman on the hold. 2 free throws coming up for Flory Badunga after we have what will be our final media timeout. So I want to thank our friends at Quack Daddy Donuts in Westfield. They are so proud to support Trey Buchanan of Westfield, representing the Shamrocks, part of the Indiana All-Stars. Their donuts are fresh, made to order, cake donuts, 6 icings, 17 toppings to choose from. Go to Quack Daddy tomorrow morning, 161st and Spring Mill Road in Westfield, and online at quackdaddydonuts.com.
Well, Kentucky trying to make it interesting here, Greg. They've made a little run here, and I made the mention earlier that if Indiana was going to win this thing, it would be defensively. And I don't think they've been near as sharp here in the last 2 or 3 minutes defensively.
I frankly think they're gassed, to be honest with you, Jan.
It's hard to argue that, that's for sure. And clearly, Coach Peckinpah has went with a core 7 or 8 here in most of this game, so your point's well taken.
Badunga with 24, Benner with 14. Garner and Haywood 9, Wyndham 11. Wyndham hasn't scored in this half. Davis 7, Fine 2, that's it. Andrews, Buchanan, Miller, Parrish, Rogers, Tornada have all played a smattering of minutes tonight, but that's it. Green 19, Perry 15. Those are the players in double figures for Kentucky. And the players we have seen tonight, only Jayshon Pouncey has played briefly, but not scored in this evening's contest. Elron House has 10 for Kentucky as far as those at double figures as well. Stay tuned following tonight's contest. We'll have our blue collar player of the game brought to us by Boilermakers Local 374. I got a good idea who the winner might be for Team Indiana.
Yeah, I could take a wild guess.
So Badunga to shoot 2. And Indiana down to double bonus the rest of the way. And Flory misses. He is now 4 of 7 from the line tonight. I know the staff in Kokomo had hoped they could be in 2 places at once today. They are hosting the baseball semi-state at Municipal Stadium in Kokomo today. That's why they were so ecstatic to get that junior-senior game in their building on Wednesday for that send-off. Here's Bateman. Bateman goes right at Badunga. Shot blocked. Shot blocked a second time. Micah Davis will check back in. Going to give Fine a breather. Shot clock at 18. Pull up by House, got it.
I tell you, he has an incredible quick first step.
He's got a dozen. He's just 6 foot tall, but plays bigger than that. Badunga leads the break and now looks for a guard. Gets it right back. Got it. Again, the growth in his game, Jan, is exponential.
Yeah, and I like the fact he's learned to be just a little more patient on his shot.
He's now got 27. 27 and 15. House finishes over Haywood. House with 14. Benner at the other end. Benner dunks it home. Benner with 16. Offense not the problem right now for Kentucky. It's getting stops.
Yep.
Need a handful of them. House again.
Boy, he just continues to score.
Just joining us, this has kind of been the MO of this game for the entire second half. Indiana had a late run to push the lead from 10 to 20 at the end of the first half. As Benner read that one, saved it, but right into Perry, which leads to a 3 for Green, and got that. And this is as close as it has been in some time.
Yes, sir.
It's now a 7-point game. So Kentucky has gotten it to the final media timeout, and they've got a chance.
Big possession offensively for Indiana. On the other hand, Kentucky gets a stop here. Look out.
Shot clock at 10. Wyndham will fire a 3. That does not go.
Not a good shot.
Now a chance to make it a 2-score game. Green wants it again. Not that time. You don't blame him. Great steal. And you can hear Perry thought he got it off the foot of Haywood, and I'm not so sure he's not right about that one.
That was close.
We'll take a break with 3:25 left to play. Indiana leads Kentucky. The lead is down to 7 on the ISC Sports Network. Let's show you that last play. Was this off the foot of the Indiana player or not? Yeah, I think it was. Break for the home team.
Yep. Close.
We've given a bunch of thank yous throughout the course of our broadcast tonight. Thanks to David George, who handles all of the media responsibilities for the Indiana All-Stars. Again, Pat McKee does a tremendous job of researching Indiana-Kentucky All-Star Series, and we've got those factoids and nuggets at our fingertips. Also want to thank the good folks at Marian University. Now, obviously, we are partial to Marian, given, I think we ended up broadcasting, Jan, 60 sporting events from Marian University during the course of the academic year. But Marian serves as the home of the All-Stars. Players report on Tuesday, obviously check in earlier today and playing the game and go home, and then really go right back to their college campuses as of tomorrow. But many thanks to all involved that make this a possibility each and every year.
Well, let's see what Indiana talked about at that timeout. This is not a time to take a bad shot. Got to get some movement and see what they do here.
Benner, a bobble. And again, I'm not sure Kentucky has to go to the tactic of fouling Flory just yet, but it is in play. Shot clock at 9. Now at 5. Wyndham. Got it.
Oh, that's sweet.
What a time for his first bucket of the half.
That was sweet.
Back to a 9-point game.
That's a big bucket.
Green looking to answer, got hit by Garner.
He sure did.
And he'll shoot 3 free throws on that one. So
no question about that foul.
Green got hit and converted a 4-point play earlier. Now has a chance to collect 3 from the line and make this a 6-point game. Again, it has not been this close since the opening minutes of the game. Kentucky had it down to 9 at 40-31 with about 2 minutes to go before halftime. Indiana took off, had a 10-point run. They had kept it a 10-point game most of the way. Now it's 8 and a chance to make it 7 or 6. And Green,
he just keeps piling on the points.
I'm going to say, Green is making me look at the record book. Again, George McGinnis is the all-time kind of legendary performance in terms of, points scored over the course of 2 games.
That's 61 points.
But Green is really starting to put his name in the record books. So 83-77. Davis at the other end. Davis with 9 in limited minutes. Ball saved. Perry's got it and scores. So Perry was 17. So to put this in perspective, Green, his 61 combined points, that is tied for the second most in Kentucky history. For Indiana, 3 players have scored 64 or more. McGinnis was 76. Oscar Robertson, 75. James Blackman Jr. was 64. Quentin Snyder was in that same game with Blackman, had 64 in the 14 campaign 10 years ago. Jason Osborne from Male High School in Louisville, want to play at the University of Louisville. He had 61 of the 2 games combined in 93, and that's the group that Max Green has just joined.
That's a who's who. But he's impressive. I like his length. He's obviously a good shooter. He can get at the rim. Two-possession game, Greg. Did you think he was going to be saying that?
And Kentucky dominated the second half last night. They have clawed a 19-point lead down to 6. Badunga scores again. I think that's a situation where you have to give a foul there.
Yeah.
You can't let him get that look.
I completely agree, and I think Kentucky's got to go to the foul tactic, I think, here pretty quick.
Now Green, that time, you don't blame the hot hand for letting it fly, but Benner held his ground and forced a bad shot. Davis, great seal by Badunga. Davis has 11, and it's back to a 10-point game with 100 seconds to play. House, good feed. Bateman the bucket. Bateman gets his second basket. 89-81. Wyndham, Davis, and Indiana may have been going too fast for its own good there.
Good idea there, but to your point, you're exactly right. It's not a time to be out of control by any stretch of imagination.
House just weaving his way through traffic, trying to find an opening. Eventually gets the shot and scores.
He's been impressive as well.
House with 18, and it's back to a 6-point game with a minute 7 left to go. Let's sneak in a quick 30-second break. Back to Indianapolis in a moment on ISC. Greg Rakestraw, Jan Bozier back in Indianapolis with you. 89-83 Indiana. Again, trying to get the split. They've led by as many as 20. But to Kentucky's credit, they never went away.
Boy, you're right. In Kentucky, you thought maybe they may run out of gas, but boy, they have still made a game of this thing, and then it's not over yet. 2 possession. This is going to be a big possession right now for Indiana.
Benner just finds Davis. Davis will take it all the way in. Missed it. There's Badunga. He's got 31. So in 2 of his 3 games this week, the other against the Indiana juniors, he gets north of 30 points. And then House is fouled by Wyndham.
You don't want to do that. That's a no-no.
Team foul number, it's a shooting foul, so it's 2, and that's the 19th foul. So all fouls going forward now. It'll be 2 shots.
Just don't want to stop the clock if you're Indiana.
Green will check back in. He's replacing Bateman. In terms of players with foul trouble, Shoulders has 4. No player for Indiana has more than 3. That's Wyndham. House makes them both.
Well, House had 16 last night, backs it up with 20.
Haywood in a tough spot, but finds Wyndham. Wyndham into the front court. Davis by his lonesome. Davis wisely turns, but lost the handle. It's off Badunga. Yep, Kentucky ball. Davis will check out. Fine will check back in. Let's make it a 1-score game here. House off the window, got it. Timeout called. So they take the quick 2. No problem with that. And now at 4. Again, objects in the rearview mirror may be closer than they appear.
That's for sure.
We'll step aside again. The lead is down to 4 with 34 seconds left to play. As you're watching the Indiana All-Star Series on ISC. Indiana needing 1 or 2 more scores to put this one away. And again, Kentucky, probably you can try to trap in the backcourt when that ball gets in the front court. Probably is when you need to foul if you're Kentucky, maybe sooner. Kentucky is now out of timeouts. Indiana has 2 that they can use at this juncture.
I'm a little surprised Kentucky hasn't went to the foul game earlier. I mean, I think I would have if I were them, but defensively, you got 2 or 3 players for Indiana that are flat out gassed.
And Indiana has shot 55% from the free throw line. Part of that is Keenan Garner, part of that's Flory Badunga. So Padunga stays in. Garner currently on the sidelines. Haywood. Fouled, and oh, that was close. Oh, that was close. Haywood will shoot two. Both teams double bonus at this point. And Haywood is 3 for 3 for the line tonight. Fine and Garner now will come back in. Haywood with 9. Haywood 9, Garner 9. Indiana currently 4 players in double figures. And Haywood misses. Indiana had a 3 to make it a 20-point game at about the 8-minute mark. And that didn't go. Just left the door open. Haywood connects on this one. He's now got 10. And now a timeout taken by Coach Peckinpah and Indiana. Again, we'll step aside, back in 30 seconds, as you're watching the Indiana Kentucky All-Star Series on ISC. Got fouled, got the dunk, got the poster, and gets the highlights. Now he takes the look away, and he puts it away. So if you're Indiana, you're one stop away here.
One stop away, and you certainly don't want to foul here.
Indiana will pick up full court just to make Kentucky take time off the clock. House. By Fine. Basket got it. 3-point game. House with 24.
Well, House has put Kentucky on his shoulders here in the second half.
Fine lost the handle. Turnover. Kentucky have a chance to tie the game with 19 seconds left to play. Kentucky does not have a timeout remaining. Kentucky has taken the 2 and not the 3. Obviously, you've got Green and Perry.
Yep.
They're both very capable 3-point shooters. There's Green. Green again. Goes all the way across the court. Perry back to Green. Green for the tie. Short. Loose ball. Saved off the side of the backboard. Out of bounds to Indiana with 0.2 of a second left to go. They got a good look.
They sure did.
And from our angle, he didn't miss it by much. Now Indiana will call their final timeout. We'll keep it right here. But with 0.2 of a second left to go, it's just a matter of just throw the ball inbounds, and that's the ball game.
Well, I'll tell you, we have to give Kentucky tons of credit. They were down 19 points at halftime and came back out, and were a shot away for tying this thing up.
So both teams are out of timeouts. And again, not exactly a review here in terms of how much time is left. But at point 2, you don't have time for a catch and shoot. So literally, if you're Indiana, just throw the ball to the other end of the floor, as you saw the ladies do in the previous game. But Jan, it looks like Indiana's going to have a 3-point win in the boys and a 2-point win in the girls. Let's go ahead and give our blue-collar player of the game, brought to us by Boilermakers Local 374. Become a Union Boilermaker, be on your way to a great career. Find out more when you log on to local374.org. Flory Pidunga, 31 points and 17 rebounds. So he brought his lunch pail and more, our blue-collar player of the game.
Yeah, he sure did. And you know what? It was from the get-go, from the tip. He set the tone and really put Indiana on his shoulders, got him that big lead, and clearly he has been the difference maker tonight.
So a buddy of mine texted me after last night's game, and I cited George McGinnis in 69. After George was saying, I don't think that McGinnis guy is very good. It's not that level performance, but it's still very impressive by Flores.
Really, really think he's elevated his offensive game. He's always been that rim protector, but now he's really came into his own offensively, Greg.
And that's it. Garner the catch. Ball game is over. Indiana hangs on to win it 90-89. They get a split of the series. Jan, your final thoughts on this game and this night?
Well, once again, Badunga. And listen, him and Benner played a ton of minutes. Give them a lot of credit for hanging in there. And I think you had 4 players in double figures for Indiana that really kind of helped. Wyndham and Haywood, I thought, played outstanding as well.
Tonight's game on the ISC Sports Network, presented in part by Coca-Cola of Kokomo. Proud to be a part of Kokomo since 1907. By the Ed Martin Automotive Group, the only name you need to know. By Forum Credit Union, helping people live their financial dreams for over 80 years. Innovative practice services. Visit them online, forumcu.com. By Indy 11, World's Game, Indiana's team. Get your tickets today at indy11.com/tickets. By Lee Company, Indiana's largest school equipment supplier. By Quack Daddy Donuts, always fresh, always cake donuts in Westfield. And by Scott Nichols of State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm and Scott Nichols are there. Jan, an absolute pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, Greg.
I will see you in the fall. Again, our next basketball on ISC, the City League Finals on August the 8th. We hope you join us there. For Jan Bozier and our entire ISC Sports Network crew, this is Greg Rakestraw. Thanks for joining us. Another great week of high school hoops as part of Indiana All-Star Week. Good night from downtown Indianapolis. Thanks for joining us all week long on ISC. Living up to that last name. Wabash has the lead for the first time today. Said that was going to be a highlight reel. Oh, baby.
Yeah, you can celebrate.